Homework help! You get homework help!
The last homework help. The last homework for 4th grade. Good luck, guys. I saved the hardest of the week for last, but geometry performance task is actually kind of fun. Nah, not the hardest of the year, because it's geometry. You should be on page. Well, first you should be quiet while I talk, and you should be on page 328, the performance task. As usual, reading carefully and following directions is the best way to do well. 10 minutes are on the clock, so don't blah 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 too much. And you're going to need some piece of paper. However, like I mentioned before, I put grid lines on the back of your homework sheet. That could be the paper that you use to do the work on. Here we go. I said, here we go. Yes?
If we don't like have the can we just do all this stuff on it?
Yeah, but the problem is you're going to have to draw. And you're going to be very careful. Grid paper, it's easy to be careful because of all the little lines that you can follow. So I guess the answer is yes, but be careful. Your Uncle Asher, I don't have an Uncle Asher, what are you talking about? Has a new bakery opening soon. And has asked you to help him design a logo for the shop sign. How exciting, I get to draw like a sign for my uncle. He emailed you to say the shop will be called Asher's Sweets. And describe his idea for the shape of the logo. Ah, the shape of the logo. You're going to describe a shape to us. And we're going to have to draw it. I see what's happening here. This is very similar to the warm-up we did this morning. My logo is 3 shapes put together. Okay? There's 3 shapes we got to worry about. I'm just putting 1, 2, and 3 to remind myself. That's all. One of the shapes is a 5-sided figure. What are 5-sided figures? Pentagons. Good job. With exactly 2 parallel sides, exactly 2 right angles, and 1 line of symmetry. Is this sounding familiar to you?
Yeah.
I had you warm up with this. So, a pentagon, 2 right angles, 2 parallel sides, 1 line of symmetry. Sounds like a lot in one little list, but it's not so bad. Because if you start with the right angle, and the other right angle, you've got 3 sides that you need. After you have 3 sides that you need, you go, wait a second, pentagon has 5 sides, I'm going to need 2 more. Well, that's easy. Just make a triangle top, right? A little triangle tippy top. With grid paper, it's easier to make it even, because you find a point and then go down from the point. But I did my best. Does this shape have 5 sides?
Yes.
Does it have 2 right angles?
Yes.
Does it have 2 parallel sides?
Yes.
Yes.
It does. Which ones are those?
The 2 sides.
The left and right. Perfect. And does it have a line of symmetry?
Yes.
I mean, if you draw it super bad, it might not look like it, but if you draw it well enough, you can kind of tell straight down the middle is a line of symmetry. All right, 1 shape down. Yes?
And the 2 sides are the line of symmetry because the top.
That's why it's the only one, because anywhere else you go, it'll be different. The other 2 shapes, we're continuing down the directions, are exactly alike. You actually like that, because that means when you figure out one, you figure out the other, because they're exactly alike. Each one is an isosceles triangle. Oh, okay, thanks for telling me. All right. Isosceles triangle. And since that's not a very good triangle, sorry. And since they're exactly alike, I'm going to use the magic of the smartboard to clone it. You don't have magical clone powers. You actually have to, what the heck? You actually have to draw.
You still have to.
Yeah, I had to draw too, because the magical clone powers failed me. Hey, Mr. Graham. Hey, your computer doesn't work right. Hey. All right, enough of that. All right. The bottom of each triangle, the side that is different, a different length from the other two, so just the bottom small part, matches up to one of the parallel sides of the 5-sided figure. The bottom of the triangle matches up to a parallel side of the pentagon. So what does that look like? That looks like this. The bottom of the triangle
goes on the side.
matches up to the the parallel side of the pentagon.
Okay, that looks like a drawing.
And I guess I should make that a little bit smaller so that it matches up more perfectly. But now that I've done that, I see what my uncle wants. He wants like a pentagon with like wings, kind of. What? Well, that's what Uncle Asher wants.
He wants a wing stop.
Be quiet. So that wasn't so hard to figure out since we took it one step at a time. You might think to yourself, wow, thanks for figuring that out for us, Mr. Graham. Oh, your work's not done yet. Silly children. Let's read this final paragraph, shall we? Draw your uncle's logo idea on grid paper. Well, I helped you out a lot with that. Then use geometric shapes, pentagons, triangles, rectangles, squares, octagons, hexagons, whatever, to create another logo for him. So we made Uncle Asher's. Now you get to put shapes together and make your own. You have freedom in that. It is kind of fun. But wait. Draw the logo and describe it in a note to your uncle using the words parallel, perpendicular, symmetry, acute, obtuse. That's why I had you define them this morning so you know what they are. And any other geometry vocabulary from the students. So he wrote you a description about his, and then you drew it. Now it's going to be your turn to draw your own logo using geometric shapes, and then you write a description to him. Say, okay, Uncle Asher, well, I made this logo. And then you can talk about it. Are there lines of symmetry? What kind of shapes are there? How many sides are there? Are there acute and obtuse angles? Are there any parallel sides? Any perpendicular? The more you mention, the smarter you sound. And even after you do all that, you're still not done. On the very bottom, it asks you to choose one. Not both, just one. The first one says, why is it important that you know the meaning of the geometry terms in your description? In other words, why do you need to know what parallel, perpendicular, or acute, or obtuse means? Why is that important? If you don't feel like answering that one, you could look at number 2 instead. Number 2, suppose you asked your uncle to draw a logo matching your description. Do you think his drawing will match what you had in mind? Explain. So you're going to draw something and write a description, but if your uncle couldn't see your drawing, if your uncle could only look at your description and read it, would he draw the same thing as you? That question is asking you, how good is your description? Is it good enough that someone who reads it goes, oh yeah, I know exactly what you have in mind? Or is your description kind of lazy and could be a little bit better? Yes, Haley?
On the note to Uncle Asher, can you go like, dear Uncle Asher?
I think it wants you to, actually. I don't think it wants you to just list things. It has parallel sides. It has 2 perpendicular sides. All 4 sides are even. That's a square, by the way. I don't think it wants. I think it wants to go, dear Uncle Asher, my shape is made of 3 different shapes. The first one has 4 equal sides. Can you guess what that is? It's a square, Uncle Asher. Good job. I think they want you to pretend like you're talking to someone. Yeah, Andre.
Should you ask someone at your house?
To try to draw it? That might be fun.
Oh
Your parents, it might blow their mind because who knows when's the last time they even thought about geometry. Like if you went like, my shape has 2 parallel sides, 2 right angles, and 5 sides total with 1 line of symmetry. What is that, Dad? Oh, it's a pentagon, silly pants. Like they might have no idea what the heck you're talking about. Or you might have parents that impress you. Like, oh, I'm still good at math even though I'm 30-something. Don't worry. Even though I'm 40-something. Even though I'm 50-something. I don't know. You guys have different age parents. I don't know. But you might confuse them. Might be kind of funny. Or they might be good at it and you'll be like, ah, you're good at this. This isn't fun anymore. All right, everybody. Let's say goodbye now.
Goodbye!